Was that a telemarketer or something?
I don't know. I like when they call in a way. I'm really weird.
I see a dude who will get telemarketing calls and he'll just lift his legs and just fucking fart right into the phone.
That's impressive.
Hey guys, welcome to Serious Laughs. This is episode 3, Love's Booby Trap, the danger of tethering our happiness to someone else's behavior.
What are the warning signs that let you know you've walked into the territory of pleasing others?
Well, hey Sheri, good to see you. Episode 3.
Oh, we made it.
I know, we made it.
We're still here. It's like when you give birth to a child, you're like, we made it to 3 months. You're still alive.
Yeah. And can I tell you what my very first doctor, when we brought Magnus, like for his first checkup, she said, if you make it to 5 years old, you guys are great parents. Congratulations. Yay. And now he's 14. So I think we're doing okay.
You're doing great. That's right. That's all we're asked to do. It's like
just keep them alive.
Yeah, it's like when you're in prison, that you're marking the days.
Oh my God. Yeah, for real. Your 5th birthday. Woo!
There you go.
We did it. Oh man, I love this subject. I love what we're talking about today. So I want to kick it off with a question to you. So how do you know when you're living for somebody else's happiness? How do you know that?
The R word pops up. Ooh. You know what that is?
Ringworm.
Ooh, that might actually be better. That would be, oh my God, I think I'm living for your expectations, Janice, because I found all this ringworm. Those are your nipples. Oh, sorry, Janice. No.
What is it?
Resentment. Resentment. You start resenting the person. And how do you know you're feeling resentful? You might get a little passive aggressive. You might not want to answer their texts. You might avoid them. You might be short-tempered with them. And yet when they ask you, is everything okay? I'm fine. But you're not. You're not, because a big sign of you tethering your happiness to someone else is living for their expectations or their needs where it eclipses your own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, which obviously would lead to resentment. That makes complete sense.
Right. There's a difference between, I want to do this for you. I want to do this for you. This is exciting. That feels good, right?
Yeah.
But so often I think we get on the conveyor belt of living and go into automatic pilot where we're not checking in with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So we start to contort who we are to please someone else. And it's not necessarily something big or obvious. Like I talk about in my article where my friend wanted me to go with her to the Bahamas. And I was like, oh yeah, no, that sounds great. Yep. I didn't commit to anything. It was like, I genuinely said, oh yeah, that'd be fun.
Sure.
But then I got a part in a movie that meant that I couldn't be with her there. So I let her know like weeks and weeks in advance. Nothing had been booked. And I think I have a quote from my friend, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something to the effect of, wow, what you're saying is making me unhappy, that kind of thing. And at first I felt guilty.
Of course. You're a good friend. That would make me feel guilty.
But then I realized I'm not that powerful.
And it's not your responsibility for her happiness either.
Bing, 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 bing. Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah. Yeah, it's not. But it's such a slippery slope on that conveyor belt because we get so busy with our lives. Things don't happen in a vacuum. That conversation took place and I had to pick up my son from school and I had a work event later that day. So it was a lot of things happening all at once.
Mm-hmm.
As we all know, right? Nothing happens like a cute little episode on TV.
Oh my God. Yeah, let's save that for another 5-hour episode. My Lord.
No, we're having this conversation. I'm like, I really need to have a bowel movement, but I got to pick up my son. I have a meeting tonight. There's a lot of inner and outer stuff going on simultaneously. Mm-hmm. And you're like, you know what? I hurt her. That feels terrible. So guilt. But then if your intuition kicks in, Molly, because then I started not wanting to write her back. And that's not guilt.
Yeah.
That's resentment.
Mm-hmm. I think so. My mind can wrap around that with like relationships. That all makes sense to me. And I've been in that place before where I have that feeling, and then I kind of look at myself and say, all right, well, what can we change? What can we do? The one place I do have a hard time doing this, and I made note, is when you're believing you're responsible for somebody else's happiness. Because I said, you're not responsible for somebody else's happiness. That makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel that that's hard for me to do personally. And I'd love to hear your take on it. When it comes to my kids, I do feel like I'm responsible for their happiness. And I have a very hard time letting them kind of, and it has to do with how I was raised and the family dynamic, but having them sit in that uncomfortableness where they kind of have to figure themselves out. You know, I'm always like, nope, we're good. Like we talked about this before where it's like I'll kind of reprimand them, but then back off immediately because there's a guilt that comes over me that I'm not contributing to a happy childhood and all this and that. So that's where I find I have a lot of trouble with that.
And you bring up a great point, Molly. It's what we come with. If we don't examine our patterns, then we are kind of parenting in the dark because we do bring our past into our present. We do. Whatever it is, there's this assumption that it's always like that for other people. But no, everyone comes with such different stories. You know that the first time you went to college, right? You hear, well, my parents did this, or I didn't have a parent, or there were always different men coming to the home, or. And you start going, oh, I guess it really is different. It's not good or bad. It's different. It's just different.
Yeah.
And when we are aware of those triggers or those patterns, I think that's when we need that awareness piece like we talked before. But then we also need to be willing to sit with the discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
Because
that's hard.
Yeah. I was talking to my sister yesterday, and her son needed help with his Spanish homework. He's in 7th grade. And I love Spanish and I love teaching. So I said, oh, I'll help. And he just had it. Like the kid he's a sweet kid, but he was just like, oh, hell to the no, basically. And my sister is a math administrator. She has this high-powered job where everyone respects her. But there's a guilt she has because for her, she hasn't been as hands-on. So she thinks. And my son and I were in the car, and trust me, you find me a perfect parent, I find you a liar, because we all have stuff. Hello. I think like the only way you learn is by messing up. So I've really learned a lot. But the example literally came yesterday. So I'm in the car with my son who's 17, and I'm aware of the dynamics, but I'm not saying anything, but because out of the mouths of babes. So my sister said, if you're going to keep acting like this, Aunt Sheri's not going to help you. No one's going to help you, or something to that effect. And he kept going on and on and on and on, misbehaving. And she kept helping him. And I didn't say anything. And my son, out of the mouths of babes, 17, said, I'm really confused. Didn't Aunt Tara say that she wasn't going to help him? And now she's helping him. I'm like, yeah. And I've done it too.
100%.
Yeah. So, but what are we teaching them? In the short term, my sister's exhausted. Yeah. In the short term, she's feeling guilty that she wasn't a mom that stayed at home. In the short term, she just wants to make him happy. In the short term, she's thinking, I didn't get enough attention from my parents, because my parents, there were issues there. You know, my mom worked. We were latchkey kids. It was the 80s. And my parents, in different ways, were not there for us. We were fed, we were clothed, but there were a lot of issues with they did the best they could. but they weren't there for us. And I think if she doesn't examine that, my sister, and hopefully she's listening, she's probably like, yes, I already know.
Shut up, Sheri.
What are you doing? I know everything.
There's no way she talks like that, Sheri.
No, she doesn't. She's amazing, my sister. I love her. I love both my sisters. I don't know if the other one's gonna ever listen because she doesn't do technology. She just joined Facebook.
I love it.
2024. So, but my younger sister's this math administrator, and I plan on having a talk with her about this. Like, you are amazing. And this is to every parent out there. If you're doing the best you can, that's all you have to do. Your kids, my kids, they're going to do what they're going to do. But what we can do for them is give them the gift of failing. Like, let them learn how to fail. And I talked to my son about this shortly after when he said that, when we were alone. And I said, middle school, as an educator, I've learned firsthand, middle school is the best time to let your kids fuck up because the stakes are really low and they're all over the place. I mean, they remind me of like puppies, like huge paws, tiny head, acne. Like, it's just like, they're just a mess. They're just a mess. They're feral creatures. I was too. Like, we have no reasoning. We don't know what the hell we're doing. And it's such a gift to let our kids fail at that time. And I said to my son, I let you fail back then. And you said to me, you don't care about my education. You don't even care. Sure. And I said, no, I do. And someday you'll get it. And he said, this was literally yesterday. He said, Mom, no, I don't remember that conversation. I said, do you get it though? He said, yeah, no, it absolutely makes sense, but I don't remember that. He was so mad. It's so funny. Like, I'm like, it's like they have Alzheimer's when they're little. I'm like, no, you told me you were very upset with me. You said, you don't care because you want me to fail. And I had told you, it's not that I don't care. It's because I care. I want you to fail. I want you to fuck up. I want you to see when the guardrails come off and you're still under my guardianship, that it's okay. We'll pick up the pieces together and you're going to see you're capable of picking up the pieces. Yeah. Whereas if the short term is, let me just keep helping you with your Spanish homework so that I don't have to feel guilty. And what I'm doing is I'm spinning my wheels. That's what my sister was doing. She's spinning her wheels. And it's like, I guess the best way to put it is it's misdirected love. Yeah. Yeah. Because love is not neat. Love is not always easy. And love, it just, love sometimes means being uncomfortable. It means letting him fail Spanish. Yeah. Sorry.
It's not always pretty. And I'm 100% guilty for that. Because of what went on in my childhood. And so getting over that and, just letting the kids figure it out on their own. And I know it's not going to be messy. And in the short term, I love how you use that term. In the short term, just knowing that I'm doing the right thing, that because keeping on, because in the long term, it's going to teach them a great lesson. As uncomfortable as it may be in that situation, whether it's with school or relationships or decisions they make, it's go ahead. You have my love no matter what. Yeah. But
love gives you the freedom to be disappointed in them.
Oh, let me timestamp that.
Okay. Love gives you the freedom to be disappointed. I think in this world of political correctness, we have emotionally seatbelt ourselves in. Like, everything is awesome. And it's like, no, everything's not awesome. I'm pissed at you. You disappointed me. And we can hold space for multiple emotions at once. We can say, I'm really disappointed in you. I love you. I'm very angry with you. I don't want to be around you right now. And that's okay, because I still
Yeah.
love you. I think we tend to think we have to stay boxed in these specific, rainbow colored emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Yes.
irony is, if we are willing to go a little dark, those dark colors are going to go through us, and we'll be right back at rainbow. But what we
Right.
do is say, oh no, I'm not going to look at the dark. I'm not going to look at the
Mm-hmm.
dark. Like, my kids have, like, yeah, anyone who has kids, if I really believe they're lying, or they're in denial, because um we're messy. I think of things I did as a kid. I was messed up. You can't,
Yeah.
like, things kids do is messed up,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah. And then,
okay. There's no
yeah.
shame. I think the shame
Yep.
comes when we try to deny it.
Yes. Yes. And I will say, I had a really great childhood too. I always felt loved. I always felt like there was a safe place to land. I didn't want to make mistakes because that's just my nature. I get very sad. I like to please people. I don't like to get yelled at. I always wanted good grades for all those reasons, because I don't like getting in trouble. But when I did, I knew that I was still loved. Like, I was never like, they're going to just fucking throw me out on the streets. That just was never a thing.
Same.
And so always having that baseline of love and compassion, but yeah, letting them fail. I dig that. I really like that.
And to know that, I think if we give ourselves permission to know that we are going to hurt the people we love, to
Mm-hmm.
be in a relationship, I don't care if it's your son, your daughter, your husband, your wife, your granddaughter, to be in any relationship means a willingness to risk pain, to a willingness to love someone unconditionally and unintentionally know that you will hurt each other at some point.
Yeah, that's kind of scary, but
But
there's no way around it.
there's no way
No way
around
around
it.
it.
And I think we're trying to, I think society, Molly, has anesthetized itself with busyness. I feel like it happens. You see it on dating. Like, let me just scroll, scroll, scroll. It's so much easier, right, than actually getting to know one soul, their
Mm-hmm.
flaws, And I'm not saying there's only one person for someone, and I'm not saying there's hundreds of people for someone. But if you think about your intimate relationships, I don't mean sexually, actually. I mean, like, the people you're close to. So you might be sexual, might not be. But you think about those relationships, like our kids that disappoint us, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we would do anything for them. We know their flaws. We know their blessings. We know everything about them, and we still love them.
Yep.
I feel like we're not, as a society, willing to do that in our romantic relationships, because
Yeah.
everyone's flawed. If you looked through your eyes, if you looked, you know what I mean? Like, someday our
Uh-huh.
sons will be someone's partner,
Yep.
potentially, right? And we would like that partner to look at our child as the sweet, complicated, annoying, wonderful, smelly, sweet human soul that they are.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we don't necessarily give that to the stranger on the street. We don't
Yeah.
give that to the person we go on a date with, if, like, oh, well, he blah, 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 and I like blah, blah, blah. It's,
Uh-huh.
and we could talk about that. That's another piece we're going to talk about, guys. The ick trend. That's just
Ooh.
ick. That's just ick. That's a new thing. Maybe not
Nah.
new for our age. I mean, it's new for our age, but not for, like, the younger generations.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's news to me. That's you got to catch me up on that one.
Yeah. Oh no, I wrote a whole piece about it, guys. You could,
Oh
yeah.
boy.
I was fascinated. I went down the cyber rabbit hole on that. Like, it
Jeez.
seems to be predominantly women who do this, but it's a trend. And I don't know how big or small it is, because it's based on social media research. So they make
Mm-hmm.
everything big. But
Right.
it's this idea of, this behavior turned me off. This black and white thinking, where we shut
Yes.
ourselves off from the soul connection potential because something in them has triggered us. And
yeah,
sometimes it's warranted. I mean, some like, "Oh, you know what? I didn't like the way he spoke to the waiter. That was really
sure,
rude." That's
sure.
different, but, like, he
Yeah, he's
"Oh my god,
gotta
he wore paisley, ick.
right.
I just can't."
That's so silly. That's
It's
so
so
silly.
silly, but I think it's fear. I think it's a fear of getting hurt, so you come up with I think it's subconscious even. I don't even think people are
Sure.
consciously thinking, "Oh, how can I disconnect so I don't get hurt?"
Mm,
But it's no different if we circle back to the relationship with our kids of allowing ourselves to have negative thoughts and not attaching our identity and our expectations on those thoughts. So we can be
mhm,
disappointed in our sons, in our daughters, in our spouses, in our colleagues. We can feel disappointment. We could get angry with them. Um, we could not want to talk to them and still love them.
exactly. Yeah, and I think there's a way also to, I've got the 6-year-old who really confuses it, and you use the words where you're like, I'm upset with the way you handled that, or I'm
Mhm.
upset with, it's not I'm upset with you. I don't hate you. I did not like that decision. And he
Yeah.
gets it confused. Oh, you hate me? And I'm like, no, I love you to death, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
You're fucking awesome. But what you did just then probably wasn't the best thing to do. Or what you
Right.
did just then was awesome. Yeah, it's just so using the words too, but
Yeah.
um
And
yeah,
and I think a lot of times when our kids say, you hate me," I think they're deep, deep down projecting their own fears.
sure. Yeah.
Like, what if she were to abandon me? What if she or they're
Yeah.
mad at themselves, "I can't believe I did X, Y, Z." And I think by holding a space for them, you're giving them permission to be vulnerable with themselves, and that's a
Mhm.
lifelong gift.
That is good. That is good. And I was just hearing something too, going back to feeling like I was responsible for my kids' happiness, where they and it makes sense. And it's easier to read it on a paper and hear it from somebody where let your kids, you're talking about somebody who's 6 years old, right? Somebody who
Mm,
just kind of doesn't have a handle on his emotions and all that stuff.
right.
Let them have the meltdown. We
Yeah.
have meltdowns in day-to-day life. Let them get angry. Let them be nervous and scared and all the things rather than just saying, "Oh, honey, we're not going to act like that right here."
Why
What are
not?
you upset about? Are you upset? Yeah,
Yeah.
I got let it happen and,
Yeah.
let them work through it. Like I said, easier said than done, your embarrassment, all this stuff, but
Yeah.
let them have the feelings. Let them have the big swings and those feelings and those emotions, I think. You
I
know.
agree.
Oh, these
Agree. And
damn kids.
these kids, why aren't they more adults like?
Damn kids. Okay, let's see. You brought some awesome quotes and let's see what we got here.
It makes me think of my mom did tough love growing up. My
She
sister was
did. Tell me.
she when my older sister wanted something in the supermarket and she wouldn't give it to her. She said, if you keep this temper tantrum up, she was like 3 years old, I'm leaving. And apparently, again, I wasn't there. It was before I was born, but apparently my sister she has a very strong will. And back then she still did. And she was like, no, and she like threw herself wherever, like on the floor or whatever, as a 3-year-old does. And my mom was like, and I just walked out of there. And I said, what happened? And she said she picked herself up and she ran after me. She moved on.
Uh-huh.
And I think I thought that was brilliant because it's there's a course called Love and Logic where they say, um, parents, remember you're the real estate. As opposed to when
Mm.
you go to the store, you know how we chase. Like, you see parents going, "Oh, no, is that where you wanna go? You wanna go the toy aisle? We'll go there." Like, it's like, no.
Yeah.
The mom decides where the real estate. Mom's real estate, dad's real estate. You follow
Yeah.
the parent. And enough of this anesthetizing with, that's the word of the day, with the phones.
Oh,
Like, let
yeah.
your kid who's 3 explore the sensations of things around them, the sights, the
Mhm.
smells. Let them see what's going on. Don't drug them with, cyber stuff at that age. Their brains are forming. What the hell's wrong with you people? That's one of my pet peeves.
Like, well, girl, guilty. I will tell you, I'm guilty. And that came from when we had Magnus. It was always like, not giving him the time to explore on his own. I always felt like I had to be there to keep his attention. Oh, well, what are we going to do here? I was like thinking I was doing the right thing. And then, learn my lesson. He's still a wonderful kid. He's got a great head on his shoulders and he's good, but totally guilty of that. And so it definitely changed the tune with the second one where I would start doing that. And my husband would slap me on the wrist and say, no. Let him explore on his own. He's totally fine. That's where his imagination comes alive. And I was like, you're right. I would fucking spend hours in my bedroom coming up with radio shows and whatever, Barbie soap operas and
yes. And we were
like
great. And you know what? It's easy for me to judge because my kids are older. So we didn't grow up with that option. When we raised our kids. My kids are much, it's a big difference with technology. It wasn't as omnipresent as it is now. So it's so easy for me to say, what the hell, parents? Because we came up with, I would give him like my makeup compact and
girl.
Like, but I didn't have a choice, right? So easy for me to judge.
Yeah, it's different. It's and same when we were kids. We could I always say, hey man, when we were kids, we would well, guess what? When we were kids was 45 years ago for me.
Right.
It's a totally different time.
Very different.
Totally different time.
So easy to judge.
Yeah,
and I was listening to an actress today. I forgot her name. She's on the Agatha blah blah blah. She's very talented. I forgot her name. The Agatha, she's the witch, whatever. Anyway, she's very talented. She very pretty, very talented, very funny. I forgot her name. But she said, well, I didn't know the show WandaVision was doing so well until I went with my kid to Trader Joe's and they were creating memes about it. She said, because I'm not on social media.
Awesome.
And I was like, I love you that you're this famous Hollywood actress whose name I can't remember. And you're like, I'm not on social media.
I love that. And I saw something on social media where it was like, wouldn't it be cool if like at 6:00 at night, everything turned off, social media turned off, Facebook, like nobody could log in from like 6 until whatever. Wouldn't that be just grand?
Yes.
And you were forced to unplug because I can understand how addictive it can be.
Yeah, I think
I'd be fucking cool.
Right. You're
Shut down like a store.
I mean, I think what you just said, Molly, I think the world of listening or the two people who are listening.
Well, listen,
they would say
4 dogs right here.
I think they would sigh. Oh, there's 4 dogs too.
Yep.
I think they would sigh relief with what you just said. Like, how nice would it be if the world went off for 6? I think we're all hungry to unplug. There's this cyber treadmill and we can't get a hold of it. There's always another email. And now with texting, it's like, oh my God, their feelings are gonna get hurt. And it's like,
yes,
it's depressing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like that sense of urgency with the texting. And there is that guilt that comes in, especially if it's a friend or family who and it's not business related or something. And it generally was busy or also Apple, listen up. I wish they had a mark on red for texts because I'll see a text and I know I want to respond, but I don't want to click on it because I'm going to forget about it if it's not highlighted. So I wish I could click on it and just mark on red and it would highlight again. Hope somebody's listening. Let's put that in work.
Can you make that happen, Apple?
Make it happen. Yeah, lots of stuff. Can I bring up a slide? I want to shift this great slide that you brought up here. Let me see how I do this, Molly. Here we go. Add to stage. Okay. You sent this. It says, when someone's feelings get hurt, it doesn't automatically mean someone did something wrong, by Laverna, Wilke. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. I think we tend to live in this if this, then this world. But I mean, whether or not you decide to be hurt about something, or I decide to be hurt about something, doesn't mean the other person did something wrong.
Yeah. I guess it's that kind of plain and simple. If you just remember that in the back of your mind, if you have that guilt kind of settling in,
Mm-hmm.
just to remember that I didn't intend for your feelings to get hurt. Like with your friend, right? And she got hurt, and that was not even your intention to hurt her. It just
No.
something came up, and
I mean,
so
I'm
she
going
kind
to
of took those.
talk to my sister and tell her what we just shared today about, like, you are a great mom. Whether or not you help him with his homework or not, you still get to be a great mom because you're there for
Yeah.
him. And if what I say hurts her, I know I meant the best.
Yes.
And I can't control how she receives that.
Yeah.
And that's true for any time we do anything. If the other day this is a common phenomenon. I don't know what's happening. It seems like the world is speeding up online, but then it's also happening. It's garnering impatience in the real world. Like no one can wait.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's truth.
And so I let an older woman, walker, pass on the street. The guy behind me, you would think I was cutting off his leg. Like honk, honk, honk. I'm like, there's an old lady crossing this. Like, come on, dude. First of all, walkers have the right of way. Second of all, it's my choice. Now, I think had I been younger and premenopausal, I would have been like, either, why are you so mean? Oh my God, I hate you. I hate you. I hate humanity. Or I would have been like, Joan Crawford, like, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill you. I'm going to fuck it. But because of postmenopausal, which we'll talk about, it's more like, he's so small. He's such a small man.
Oh,
like emotional regulation comes with those hormones that are no longer
I can't wait to have that episode.
It's really nice for me.
Yeah.
Everybody's different, but I kept thinking the internet is so fast paced, and we swipe, we make decisions so quickly about relationships and job applications, and we throw off the email and don't think twice. And then seeing a woman who is clearly in need of assistance walking and needs that time, you just treat her like something you could put in the trash on your monitor, on your computer monitor. Like
just hurry up. Yeah, get on with it. I love that. I never thought about that, actually. I know that, like, everything happens so fast on the internet, the swipes, the whatever the attention span is. I don't know if that's true or not. We're all losing the attention span. I've heard arguments either way, but yeah, I think it's translating into real life. And that's not good for our kids. Our kids have to learn patience and empathy and sympathy. And this guy clearly, whether he was rushed or not,
you're going to get there 5 minutes later, really? I mean, and what if I had a gun? You'd never get there. I would have killed you. And I didn't have a gun. I had a tortilla, so I had some gas. That would have knocked him out.
That's so funny.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, freaking
I had gas, but it wasn't from the tortilla. That's a whole other episode. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my gosh.
Don't encourage me to make jokes to make you laugh.
No, I love your jokes. I love your jokes.
I love your jokes.
Sure. Okay. So that was a great quote. Thanks for sharing that.
And then I wanted to talk about, oh my God.
Sheri, get it together.
Get it together. You're so slow, postmenopause.
God, hurry up.
Oh my God. I can't find my cigarette, but this will have to.
Here, I'll put it. No, never mind. That doesn't work.
And I put a note for us. So when you have this tethering yourself to someone else's happiness, you develop this interdependence, which isn't the healthiest. It's like a codependency. And the prefix, here we go. Anyone who wants to take the SAT again, inter means between or among. So you have this interdependence between the two of you. And that's why I call it love's booby trap, because oh, I care about you. I care about you. But now you're tethered. You
Mhm.
you're trapped in the expectations of the other.
Mhm. Is there a point, I'm writing this down, I'm just going to say it now. Is there a point though, the person who's so you're the one who's tethered, you're doing it for their happiness, the the person who's getting all the benefit, let's say, right? Is there a point
Short
where
term.
the short term, but the person who's getting all of your attention and all the things done, is there a point where it becomes what the fuck was I going to say? Where it becomes where they are now dependent on that, um and they expect that from you all the time, and then when you're not living up to that expectation, then they're mad at you.
You know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You've created a
they'll
monster. It's like Ferberizing.
oh,
For
what's
those of you
that?
out there, you don't know Ferberizing?
No, I'm
It's a
dumb.
Ferber. You're not dumb. Do not. Just because you never heard of it, Ferberizing is a parenting method developed by Dr. Ferber, I think. Anyway,
Okay.
oh my God. Wait 1 second.
Take the call. Let's hear it.
All right. Oi, oi.
Hello. Serious laughs.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello? You hung up on me? I'm going to take it personally. I'm tethering myself to your happiness. Okay.
Have another cigarette. Jesus
I need
Christ.
another cigarette. Oh my God.
Dude, was that a telemarketer or something?
I don't know. I like when they call in a way. I'm really weird.
That's
Because I'm
hilarious.
like, I've done all kinds of things like that are so politically incorrect, especially in our
I
world.
love
So
it.
let's just say
I
it.
love it.
What
I
were we
see a
talking about?
dude who will get telemarketing calls and he'll just lift his legs and just fucking fart right into the phone.
That's impressive.
If he can do it on command, I'm telling you.
That's
Anyways,
really impressive. Like he has a talented colon.
back to our
Well,
serious
back to
conversation.
our serious laughs, where humor meets heart. Thump
Heart
thump,
and
thump thump, thump
fart.
thump.
Wow.
What were we talking about?
I have no clue.
Tether.
Where it becomes a
Oh,
problem. Okay.
yeah.
Yes.
So spoiling. We're spoiling. You're spoiling. You're
Mm.
creating a monster. You're
Oh, there you go. Yep.
basically saying, yeah, I think your behavior is warranted and is acceptable. Silence is agreement.
Mm.
Right? So in the case of my sister, sorry, he is used to having a temper tantrum when he doesn't get what he wants. And
Mhm.
she is used to placating him.
Mhm.
And then like if their interaction was a symphony, it would be and then it would start again. Okay, I promise I'm not medicated, but don't hire me for your next symphony. But my point is, like, it's just this routine of roles that they get into. That's it.
Yep.
And Ferberizing. That's what I wanted to say. Well,
Ferberizing. Let's
Dr.
talk about it.
Ferber, I think it was the 70s, don't quote me though. He had a method where if a baby, if their needs were met, they were fed, they were clothed. We're talking baby.
Mhm.
And you put them to bed and they started whining and crying. You were supposed to Ferberize them, which meant you had to withdraw yourself from the place where the baby was in increments. So maybe the first night you don't pick them up when they're crying for 5 minutes. Then the next night 10, then the next night 20. You keep doing it until the baby learns, oh, they're not responding. I guess I'll have to learn how to self-soothe.
Mm.
And
Mm.
to me, that method can be applied to all of our relationships.
Mm.
We want to empower the ones we love to self-soothe, to
Yeah.
self-navigate, to self-correct, to dive inward instead of looking outward to blame others. We just heard Trump and Harris. And this is not a political show. I'm not telling you anything about what I think politically, but what I can say is I heard a lot of blaming.
Yeah.
There wasn't as much listening as it was, how can I attack you to make myself look better, which ironically made them both not look the best.
It was
Okay.
I didn't even finish. It was painful to watch.
It was very painful. As one of my close friends said, I said, what do you think? He said, after watching that, I need a shower. Like, he felt so dirty.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And I think that's this, even though it's a different kind of relationship, these are our role models, and they're, instead of addressing the actual issues of the world, and even like, how enticing would it be for a political figure to say, I don't know, that's a good question, or to take accountability and say, yeah, I messed up, and I need to address that, and it's not easy for me to admit that. So,
Well,
but
they don't seem human. They don't seem human when
no.
they can't admit to messing up or open to suggestions and ideas. You're just like, what? It's not human.
That's a good way
And
to
it doesn't.
put it.
I don't have feelings. I'm not
Well,
invested.
how
It's hard
could
to
you
say
be
that.
invested in someone who doesn't show their soul?
Mm-hmm.
A leader
Yeah.
needs to show their soul.
Yeah.
There's a strength in being honest with yourself to the world.
Yeah. Honest and vulnerable, and everybody
Mhm.
makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect.
And we'll
The
do
one
this
thing we were talking,
together. Mhm.
yeah, yeah, you were talking for ferberation. Is that what it was?
Ferberizing.
Ferberizing.
Ferber. And it was big when I was raising my kids, so that might be
Okay.
why.
Okay. Well, I like the lesson, and I think you used the word I wrote down that made me happy about it, because I can understand how difficult that would be to do. Especially hearing your baby cry. That's not fun. Instantly a baby starts crying, by the way. I don't have babies that cry anymore. I start sweating. My body reacts immediately. I immediately start sweating, and the tension starts rising in my body. But the word you used was empower. If you can empower your kids or your loved ones to learn how to self-soothe in so many aspects of their lives, it is empowering when you can handle the things like I have my journal today, and I've been going through some stuff that
Yeah.
about my family. And every day it says, what am I grateful for? And all I wrote was, I can handle this. I can.
Yes, you
I can
can.
handle it. I know I can, and everybody can handle it.
Yes.
Life is a shit show, but we can handle it when we are given those tools and those opportunities to self-soothe ourselves. So
Yes.
somewhere down the line, I was given that.
You were.
Thanks, Mom.
And you're giving that gift to your kids because, and I always said that to my older son who's in college, and he lost a friend of his to a drowning accident. It was after his
No.
freshman year. It really affected him. And the
Oh,
only thing I
God.
could tell him was, like, no words. Devastating. He drowned. And my son had a really hard time with it, and I basically let him know, yeah, it's good that you're having a hard time with it, like, because that means you're going through it, and you're going to get
Yeah.
out the other side. And I know
Mhm.
it's a process. It's 5 steps forward, 3 steps back. It's
Mhm.
messy, it's painful, but it's ferberizing. It's emotional ferberization. It's saying,
Yeah.
you got this. I'm here for you. I could offer
Mhm.
you my insight, but at the end of the day, I'm not driving your car. You are.
Mm. I like that. I make a note of that.
Okay.
I make notes when we talk.
Well, I'm so glad. I can't multitask like you. Must be a
Oh, no.
postmenopausal thing. You
Well,
used to
just
be
give me a
able
few
to
years.
multitask. What happened? Menopause.
Menopause.
Used to
Menopause.
be kind. What happened? Menopause.
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 Fucking pause. Fucking pause.
We're going to work on that jingle for next time. See, we got this one. You want to read this one?
Know
This
my
is Maya
favorite.
Angelou. Did I spell everything right? I think
Yes,
I
you
did.
did. I love Maya Angelou. Oh my God. You only are free when you realize you belong no place. You belong every place. No place at all. The price is high. The reward is great. I mean, I just had an intellectual orgasm. I'm still coming. Still coming.
Oh my God. Whoa, I'm going to bleep that. Timestamp 5751.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I hope this makes as much sense to everybody as it did to me when I read this. This freedom to go everywhere and nowhere, because what you bring is your home with you. You bring your inner compass wherever you go. So you could be at the fanciest party or the Port Authority bus station. You belong everywhere and nowhere because home is in you. Capability is in you. Grace is in you. That's when you're free.
You are enough. You are enough.
Mm-hmm. You're plenty.
They talk about that a lot in my acting class because everybody, and guilty, you come in with your script or what your sides or whatever it is, and you just try to be more. If I'm more, I'm going to be better. They're going to understand it. It's going to be funnier or more dramatic. And it's just the best when your coach is like, stop. You're enough.
Yep.
You are enough. And you're like, but then what am I actually doing anything? Yes. So many things. I feel that with this quote.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, you're that home base. I like that. I like that idea.
It's very soothing. It takes the pressure off of you because you don't have to manufacture emotions. You can organically just feel them. I didn't sleep well. Okay, so maybe I'll be tired.
Yeah.
I'm upset with my son. Okay, so I'll be upset with my son.
Yeah.
It gives you permission to be human. And it's sad that the need for that. But that's something that needs to be cultivated. I think so much of mental illness stems from, not all of it, but a great deal of it stems from this unwillingness to see the raw parts of ourselves, to feel that we have to compensate for any less than pretty parts of ourselves, whether they're physical or psychological. And I think you get to a point, if you're willing to say, no, this is me.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, there's nothing more beautiful and freeing than authenticity.
I agree. I totally agree. And it's funny. I may have mentioned this in another podcast because we've had so many.
Uno, dos, tres.
That I didn't really.
How many more languages can we count to 3?
I don't know, but I like it. That I didn't fully realize that and let it be okay in myself until I was 45, 44, something like that. This is me. And I'm unapologetically me too. No need to impress anymore. It is nice.
I love it. It didn't happen for me till I would say 50.
Okay.
And I'm 51. Yeah. I was a later bloomer than you. I was still clinging to the ego's armor. And now I'm like, no, I don't know what it is. I think you lose enough of life's material gains, whether that's beauty or money or health. And then you're like, well, fuck it. I'm just going to be me because anything else is not working.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very freeing. And it's something I hope my kids can. Oh, that's the wrong. Yep. I already did that one. Hoping some I can pass on to my kids.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think we've gone through.
We didn't do the quicksand. You want to read that one?
Yeah, sure. The booby trap of love is like emotional quicksand. It is the shadow self of love. It's where lack and fear dwells.
Yeah. This idea of, oh, but if I don't do this, then this and this and this. It's the dark side of love.
Yeah.
It's the shadow self. It's not, it's an illusion. We've bought into the illusion that what matters is the looks of things. What matters is your happiness, and I don't care about mine. It's, it's funny. Like, I think of, I was invited to a New Year's Eve party a few years ago, and I'm like, do I really want to go? And I didn't, but I went anyway, and I had a decent time. But now I know that I don't have that fear and lack. I don't have that, but when, I know I'm loved. I know whether I go to a party or not, it's because I want to, not because of fear and lack. When we take actions based on desire and not fear and lack, we're going to set ourselves up for more love. Whereas when we cling to this idea of, if you do this for me, I'll do this for you, this codependent love, it might feel good when it's in the honeymoon stage, whether that's your child and a parent or a romantic partner. But in the long run, there's going to be cracks in that foundation, and it'll become like quicksand, because the more you feel that resentment, the more you might try to glue it, like paste over, like everything's fine, everything's awesome. And it is like a quicksand. You literally drown yourself in lack. Ironically, by chasing what you feel you don't have, you create more of that lack.
Man, I bet a lot of people feel that in the workplace too, with bosses and that kind of situation too. It can be so many relationships that can apply to.
Yeah, like, please like me, please like me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are topics there which we will talk about, but not right now.
We have to do it.
Where are we with time? Are we good with time?
We're over an hour. So is there anything you want to say to kind of, wrap it up? Any words of advice, or you have the quote here?
Just be kind to yourself, and have faith in others, because the ones you love, to make the right decisions, and to know that you're not dependent on their decisions, that your happiness is not tethered to their decisions, so that if they grab that bottle again, if they're having a drinking problem, or if they're mean again, or they do something that they really shouldn't have, know that they're already feeling 100% guilty. You don't need to, it's kind of like what your acting teacher said, you're enough. Just being present is enough. I think the tendency is, like when you go to a funeral, what do you say? What do you say? What do I do? What do I do? Just be there.
Yeah.
All anyone wants is to know that you're there. And the same is true in life. When you're dealing with a loved one who is going through something hard, having faith that your presence is enough.
And we're going to end with that. Love it. All right, that's a wrap, guys. Remember, when everything's going wrong, it just means you're crafting a great story. Stay tuned for more episodes where we turn life's lemons into laughable tales. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and keep finding the best in the worst, because life's too ridiculous not to laugh at.